All right, good morning, guys. It's Fast Cars, Fast Money. We just got done recording the Xfinity Mid-Ohio video. If you haven't seen it already, it's up on our channel, so make sure you guys go check it out. But for this video, we're going to be talking about the Cup Series over at Sonoma. Because of COVID, they didn't race here last year, so you have to go all the way back to 2019 to find the most recent race at this track. But nonetheless, we're back and we'll be breaking it down for you guys. So very similar to the Xfinity kind of initial thoughts, but uh, this one, there's only 90 laps, so there's a couple more laps than the Xfinity race, but there's still not a ton. So I would say there's more of an emphasis on place differential and finishing potential this week, opposed to those guys who are going to be clocking off those fast laps and those laps led, just because it's really not that many points you can score if you are doing that. But there's still points nonetheless, which are only going to help your line. But um, stage racing has really changed road course racing, kind of the strategy behind it. You'll see people pitting before the end of the stage to kind of advance their position moving forward to the next stage. And the way that it plays out, usually you kind of want your drivers to be starting towards the front at the beginning of stage three. If that happens, most likely it's going to be a pretty good day for you DFS wise. But this track's pretty large. You should probably stay green unless there's a big caution or a car's laying down fluid. So if a guy spins out, he'll be able to just get refired and keep going. I don't really expect a lot of caution laps opposed to the stage breaks, but let's get to the driver breakdown and the picks. The whole reason you guys are probably here. And I guess we'll start with you, Coop. If you're looking at the expensive guys in the 10K range from Truex down to Logano, who are the ones that you're going after?
Yeah, sure. I will first throw out an advertisement for our Twitter at Fast Cars FM. We throw the spreadsheet and the videos over there. We are happy to help you on lineup construction, answer questions, everything. So feel free to check that out on Twitter. That is at.
Yeah, Coop
At
was saying
Fast
that was
Cars
at
FM.
yeah at Fast Cars FM. I'm sure his audio will come back here any second, and he'll be picking it back up right where he left off between the top owned plays. Coop, you still there?
He could win this race, and he's starting 19th. So all of those place differential points could be huge for us this week. So we really like Martin Truex. And then I'm gonna jump to the 9K tier here as well when I talk about Chase Elliott, because you have to make a decision on who you think might lead the early part of the race. Is it going to be Chase Elliott or is it going to be Kyle Larson? You know, both Hendrick's teammates, both really fast. Elliott obviously is the just a premier road course driver, one of the best ever. So you got to love him. But this year it's been Larson's year, and Elliott's had a down year so far. So Larson's shown a lot of speed this year. If he gets out front early, it's not going to be easy for Chase to pass him, even though Chase is as skilled as he is at these road courses. So for me, I think it comes down to the rest of your line. Do you need a little salary relief? And could you go down to Larson if you want a lap leader? Or are you going to have the extra salary to go with Chase? I really like Chase Elliott this week. He's just been lights out at road courses, and I'll have him in a lot of lines as well. And then Kyle Busch and Joey Logano to wrap up the 10K range. I'm not a big fan of either one of them, but as a GPP play, you could throw a dart at Joey Logano.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jason. I think Martin Truex Jr. is definitely probably the top play this week because of all the place differential he offers, and he could potentially win the race this week as well. And then Chase Elliott, you can't come to a road course without talking about Chase Elliott and how good he is at him. Starting on the front row alongside Kyle Larson. In my opinion, I feel like you have to have one of these guys because I think Chase Elliott or Kyle Larson is going to lead the majority of the first half of the race, if not more. And while that may not necessarily be a lot of dominator points, they can still finish inside the top five, and those extra dominator points will help bump them up above some of the other guys around there. And then Kyle Busch, we don't have any practice this week like we've had the last couple of weeks, but Kyle Busch and this whole 18 team has been running a lot better this year compared to last year without practice. So if you're looking to get a little GPP and fading Elliott or fading Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch is not a bad play.
Yeah, Sonoma's a very technical track. It usually kind of plays into the hands of the more skilled drivers in the series. So when you think of just pure skill alone, I think Kyle Busch would kind of be in that top, tier of drivers that we currently have. So he probably will be a little bit lower owned, like you guys both just mentioned, just be with everyone probably chasing Truex and Chase there, just looking off of previous finishes and previous data. But for me, I still think Truex is a must play option. Like Rich is saying, he still has a chance to win, like Elliott does. He's really good at these road course races, and he has those place differential points baked in. So it's just easy points that you can automatically kind of bank on in your line. Another guy that when you guys are talking about Larson and Elliott leading the early part of the race, another guy to not sleep on. I know we're low interest on him just because I think we are a lot more confident in Elliott and Larson. But William Byron's been, pretty good at road courses too, and he's been running really well this year as well. He's taken a significant leap forward. He'll kind of have that inside line right behind Larson. So if he's able to get in front of Elliott, and if Larson makes a mistake early, I could see Byron leading some laps too, but definitely only a GPP only play. I would not go there in cash. And if you are playing Byron, I probably wouldn't have him in a ton of lines. But for me, it's really going to be just chasing these place differential points. So I like Truex, and I like pairing him with a guy like Kurt Busch, who it got really unlucky. Both Chip Ganassi cars got really unlucky last week, but Kurt Busch starts 30th. He's a pretty good, skilled driver who should be able to move forward. And I just like those place differential points. So I'm going to be going after guys like Kurt Busch and Truex who can move forward. But what about you guys? You guys like anyone else in the 9K range there?
Yeah, you touched on Byron there, and I'll just throw in Hamlin's name and say that I feel the same way about Hamlin as you do about Byron. Love it for a GPP play. He's a really good road course racer. He should stay inside the top 10, and he has a chance to win as well. It's not as high as somebody like a Truex or Elliott, but he's in the next tier after those guys. He's a very good road course driver. So I like Denny Hamlin as a GPP play in this range as well. And I feel the same about the rest of the drivers as you do. I really like Kurt Busch as a PD play today.
Yeah, Kurt Busch starting 30th. He should have no problem getting inside the top 15 by the end of this race and getting huge amount of place differential points. And then I'll touch on Kyle Larson again, even though I did earlier. Starting first, he's been the best best driver all year long. If he gets out and gets out in the lead and Byron and Chase fall off a little bit, he's just going to lead all the first stage laps and maybe even all the second stage laps as long as he has a decent pit. But if we drop on down here to the 8K range, I would probably say my favorite play is probably Christopher Bell starting 20th. Bell has been really good this year running in the 20 car, consistently finishing inside the top 15 every week. And starting 20th, he gives you a good amount of place differential points there. And then Kevin Harvick, as Andrew said earlier, this is a really technical track, and Kevin Harvick is an extremely skilled driver. Starting 8th, he offers a few PD points. He can finish inside the top 5. He could potentially get a win too. We haven't seen Harvick or Hamlin in victory lane yet this year, so would not be surprised to see Harvick get a win this week.
Yeah, for me, I like Christopher Bell here a lot too. We saw him win the Daytona road course earlier this year, so we know he's a pretty good road course racer. He's in the top, JGR equipment. He starts 20th. It's just he'll probably be higher owned of the highest owned guy of this range. So I don't mind maybe pivoting to like a Matty D or even like Rich was saying, a Kevin Harvick. Like Harvick doesn't start as far back as some of the other plays here, but I would argue he's probably the most skilled driver in this range. And they're, even though Stewart Haas Racing has been struggling a lot this year, I think the layout of the track and the track style should kind of make those issues go away. And it's really just going to kind of play into the driver's wheelhouse and the driver's skill. So I think Harvick could, even if he doesn't win, I think he could easily finish, top 5. And at $8,900, I still think that's going to be a really good play for you.
Yeah, I really like Christopher Bell this week as well. Still, his price hasn't really come up out of the low 8,000s range. And I just think he's fantastic here this week. His other win earlier this year was on the road course, and I think that he'll turn in another good performance this week. And I also have interest in Brad Keselowski just because I think he's entirely too cheap. Doesn't have the upside that some of these other drivers starting inside the top 10 have. However, I will say for $8,500, I'm willing to buy Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, then if we get down to the 7K range, I think a lot of people are just going to be chasing the place differential points, and I don't blame you. I mean, I'm pretty high on both of these guys too. Even though Eric Almirola hasn't run particularly well this year, you would think eventually that luck will turn around. But I think we've been saying that every week. So just beware. It's not like an automatic free square if you are playing Almirola. And Ross Chastain had issues very similar to Kurt Busch. So both Chip Ganassi cars are starting deep in the field. We saw Chastain running really, really well at the COTA race. Granted, it was a kind of a rain race, but still it was a road course, nonetheless. And I also like Michael McDowell. I think he's a good pivot, maybe off of Chastain or an Almirola. McDowell usually is a pretty good road course racer. He starts 21st, which might scare some people, but I can see him, fighting for a top 15, a top 12, and at $7,600 to get a lower owned driver who still has that kind of same upside that an Almirola or a Chastain has. I think that's a good pivot play.
Yeah, I think in this range, my favorite play is probably Ross Chastain starting 29th. As you said, he ran really well at COTA. He's actually running over the paint and stretching the track out a lot more than everybody else. So I got no problems playing him. Could end up not working out because Chastain, we've said this before in other videos, he seems to make people mad a lot. But there's one guy in this range that we have as low ownership or low interest that I kind of like, and that's Chris Buescher. Starting 12th. 12th is probably around where he'll finish, but he does have upside to finish inside the top 8, and I would not be surprised if he does that. He's been running really well all year, and I will probably have some ownership of Chris Buescher in my 20 max this week.
In the 7,000K range, I like Chastain. I don't have much interest in any other drivers. In the 6,000K range, I have more interest in some of these drivers here. I'm higher on Preece than I am on any of the other drivers in the 7K range. And I think I'm probably slightly higher on Briscoe than a lot of those other drivers. And then I'm much higher on Ryan Newman. I like Newman a lot this week. He's entirely too cheap, and I think he's going to be a fantastic play. Outside of that, if I was to go lower, I would be looking at the Heckert or Wares if I had to punt, but I'm going to try and avoid that. If not, maybe I'll throw a dart at one of those two drivers. But
yeah, the one thing I like about Briscoe is he's actually the only Cup driver, at least, who's entered into the ARCA race on Saturday. So he'll get some extra laps. He'll get some extra practice time, even though it's in a different car. It's still track time nonetheless, which is going to be more than anyone else has. So I think that does give him, an advantage. Maybe early on, maybe he could advance his position. Some of the other drivers are still trying to get comfortable with the track, and if he can just maintain that, I think he'd be a good play. And we've seen him run well on the road courses in the Xfinity Series too, so I don't mind Briscoe there at all. Like Coop was saying, I think Newman's a good play. And then if you are punting, I don't mind Heckert or Ware. Like, they start so deep in the field that they're not going to kill you. If you look at some of the cars in front of them, I can easily see both of those cars moving forward. Both of them have some decent road course experience. And if any driver wrecks out or has an issue, that's just one more spot that those guys are going to continue to, provide you. And they offer so much salary relief. You can really jam in those top plays, the Larsons, the Elliots, the Truexes. And hopefully, if Ware scores 14 points and maybe a guy in the low 6 range scores, 18 points, I think those 4 points really aren't going to matter too much if you're able to get another top driver who scores significantly more points to help your line. But what about you, Rich? Do you like any of the guys from kind of 7K on down?
I think the obvious best play is Ryan Newman. He'll likely come in as one of the highest owned drivers on the slate on Sunday. I don't mind Ryan Preece or Chase Briscoe. They're both solid. You're not really looking for too much. You're just looking for them to move up, finish inside the top 20, and give you those place differential points. But like you guys said, if you're willing to punt, I would probably go with Scott Heckert in the 78 Live Fast car. I think he ran earlier at the Daytona Road Course this year. I don't think he did anything too special, just finished 28th, which is all you would really need from him to pay off. And like Andrew said, you're just looking for salary relief to get you, your Martin Truex Jr., your Chase Elliott, or Joey Logano, or Brad Keselowski, to try and stack in those guys that will finish inside the top 10.
Cool. So I think that's going to do it for the Cup video. Like I said, our Xfinity video is up as well if you haven't already caught it. And like Coop was saying, our Twitter is at FastCarsFM. You can hop over there. Any interest level adjustments or different thoughts as they get closer to the start of the race, we'll be adjusting this so you can kind of catch our final thoughts right before the green flag on Sunday. And then I just wanted to thank everyone again. We've seen significant growth through this channel this year. I think we're at like 150 subscribers right now. So we're really trying to get up to that 200 mark. So if you guys aren't subscribed and you are continuing to watch our videos, hitting that subscribe button would really mean a lot to us. But good luck to everyone this weekend, and we'll catch you guys next week.
See you in the green.
Good luck, everyone.